Yep. There it is. Just refresh. All right. This is Eric with diffuserdoc.com. Sorry, I was trying to figure out how to go live. But in this video, I'm going to replace the power board on the new model of Young Living Aria diffuser. And let's see. Some of the things that have changed in the new model of the Aria is the way you can identify the new model is that when you remove the dome and the splash shield, you'll see that there's just the disc. The old model had a larger chrome area here and a black nub that was actually what used to sense the water level, and when it got down low, that black nub would shut it off. The new model doesn't have that, just the disc. And what's happened to this one, it's plugged in right now. If you press the button on the bottom, the other new thing is that there's a button on the bottom for power. So if you lose the remote, you can still turn this on. In this case, this one has an issue where it will not power on. And this has been happening to quite a few of these. We get reports of people that have the new Aria and it won't power on. What is happening in here is the power board in here that kind of looks like this is corroding. Water's getting down in here, moisture, there's lots of moisture, it's creating tons of moisture, is getting down there, and it's corroding out the power board. So what we're going to do is go ahead and replace that. So I'm going to unplug this, and I will remove the bottom. I've already removed these 4 screws. Just a tip to get these rubber feet out, you just want to insert something sharp like the tip of a safety pin or maybe a paper clip in there, and just pull up, and these will come out really easy. The rest have been removed. Once that's done, we can pull up, use your finger in here, and you can pull this bottom up and work your way around. There we go. And then it'll come out. Now, the next thing you want to do is, it might be easier to, this set of 3 cables right here, you can pull them out. Just put your finger here and give it a tug. And then that gives you a little bit more room to work on the connector for the disc. And I'm just going to kind of hold on to the black part and pull this white connector part out with my other fingers. There we go. And then we have this separated. So we want to set this aside. And what we want to do is remove these 4 screws here, because we're going to need some room underneath to put a connector. And then once I have these out, then I can show you exactly what the problem is with this. What happens is the moisture gets into the diffuser, and it starts to corrode the electronics on this board out. In most cases, you'll find that this side of the board is really all green with corrosion. Now, I've already had this apart. I've already replaced this board. I put it back together so I can show the process of replacing it. So once that's out, this is the board that we're interested in. There was a lot of green stuff all around here. I cleaned it with a Q-tip and some rubbing alcohol. This is what I cleaned it with. You want to just get some rubbing alcohol and clean that. Now, this side looks really good, but what you'll see is that on the other side, you'll see where the problem is. Most of the ones I've seen, this side is just all green and just destroyed. Now, I've already taken this out and I've cut this wire. We'll be fixing that in a second, but this was all green in here. And here's the issue. If you can see, this is all corroded and green. And then it breaks the connection to the power, and this machine wasn't turning on at all. So cut this out. Just use some scissors and you can cut this cord off. And then this is our replacement board. I'll take that out. There's a little note in here that says if it fails to power on after you've replaced this, loosen these screws, and you can loosen these screws and switch these wires around if it doesn't turn on, and I'll show that to you in a minute. So this is our replacement board, and what we want to do is pull this rubber band out of here. The rubber band is in here just to keep this connector from shutting during shipping, and if it shuts, it's kind of hard to get back open. So we'll take the rubber band out, have this open, and we've gone ahead and cut these. So this changes. This is different on a couple of these. There's a couple different models with different kind of configurations. They're only slightly different. I think sometimes these are closer together, but the power is actually switching. In some videos I say that this longer red is positive, and then sometimes these cables are gray. I think the best thing to do is to follow this wire here on my left if I'm looking at it, and that's positive, so you want that to be red. And I'm going to look at the wire, kind of has this small mark on it, and we're going to figure that's red. And it's okay if this isn't right, because that's what this green connector is for. If it doesn't power on after you do this step, you can unscrew these and switch these two around, and then it should be fine, because it's hard to get this connector apart. So what we're going to do now is put this wire that I've identified with the short mark into here. So here's how this goes together. Arrange these a little bit, and the wires go into these holes right here. And then this is clear so you can see how far you're putting them in, and then you press this together. So red goes on this side, and so they're in these two holes. And then I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to look on this side to make sure they're going in straight. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to close this partially, make sure everything looks good. And then I'm going to grab a pair of pliers here and squeeze that shut. You don't have to strip any wires. Just use this quick connector, squeeze that shut, and then that's making this connection. So next, the reason I removed these 4 screws is so I can pull this board up and tuck the wires beneath and put the connector down in here. And then I can close this back up, line it up. There are some pins right here that need to go in, and that'll help you line the screws up so you can see where the screws need to go. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'll just put 2 screws in real quick so that we can move on here. Okay. All right, so next thing we want to do is screw this down. I'm going to flip this over so that the green part is up, and then there are also some guide pins here. We want to make sure that this fits on those pins. You'll see them come through. There you go. You see them come through right here. And then we want to put these 2 screws in. You know what? It's actually a good idea to test it right now before I put this too far together, because if we need to, we can take this out and it's easier to unscrew these and switch these 2 wires around. So I'm going to plug it in real quick. There isn't any high voltage here, nothing can hurt you. I'm going to hit the power button. Okay, looks like we got it right. So that works. So we're going to go ahead and screw this down. Following the pins again, little alignment pins, okay. Take our 2 screws. Now, it's important to note that our part is protected against moisture. If you take a look at this board, see how it's reflective and kind of shiny. This has a conformal coating on it, which protects it from moisture and it keeps it from corroding. This board, if you'll notice, does not. At least on this side, it's not shiny. Our board does have a conformal coating on here. It's shiny right here, and it's protected from moisture. So this won't corrode like this board did. When there's electricity in here and water, things corrode really quickly. If you notice you have that problem, just unplug it and take a look inside and make sure that's not the issue. So I've got these screws back in, power board's installed, and I'm going to go ahead and reconnect the wires. I'm going to start with this infrared control wire. Plug it in. And then the next thing I want to do is kind of lean this over and connect the transducer or the disc. And you just sort of want to hold on to the black wire and push this in until you hear a snap or feel a snap. Sorry, my fingers are in the way. There we go, and snap. I felt a little snap. So the wires are reconnected. I'll tuck these in. Next thing we want to do is make certain that this connector is in here and that the wires kind of channel in there so that they don't bind up. And this disc right here, this holder has room to go into there. So watch all the other wires. And I think we're good there. So now to reinstall this, you want to start by making sure this is flat here where the 2 connections are. One's audio, this one's the power that we just replaced. Make sure that's flat, and then work your way around and press all the way around till it's flush. And then you want to install your 4 screws in here. And when those are installed, put your rubber feet back in. And then we're going to give it some power. And put the vent in. And this splash shield. And I'm going to give it a little bit of water. 1 second here. Put the dome on. And then give it a test. All right. There we go. And that's how we replace the power board on the new Young Living Aria diffuser. I will leave a link in the description to this replacement part down below. If you have any questions, reach out and we'll be happy to help. Thanks for watching.